Baltimore Ravens, as they survive in overtime against the Cincinnati Bengals, 41-38. Joe Burrow said that the team needed to play near perfect, and guess what? They didn't. They floundered in overtime, and the game gets away from them. Strong finish for the Ravens. They are so far, Sean, the fifth team since 1980. And there's a clip that we posted on our vertical platforms of me yelling about the gloriness of the running back position. They were the fifth team since 1980 with 1,000 yards through the first 5 games. And the big difference so far, Sean, and this is kind of expounding on a previous point that we had, the big difference between last year and this year, and why one should be optimistic of the future of the Ravens this season, is that they don't have to generate most of those yards off of the legs of Lamar Jackson. Instead, Derrick Henry is the one leading the way. What did you think of this game?
Yeah, there's a lot to break down from Cincinnati. I'll get there to the moment. But the Ravens are doing exactly what you want the Ravens to do when you were thinking about how this offense was going to shape up. You want Derrick Henry getting 15-plus touches. He had 15 and iced the game in overtime right before the game ended. It was spectacular. He had 92 yards, a tud. Lamar Jackson, 350 in the air, 4 touchdowns, and 55 on the ground. It's exactly how you want this offense to shake out. Maybe you want some more action from Zay Flowers receiving. Maybe you want Mark Andrews to catch the ball once a game. I know that's a lofty expectation to set right now. But this is a huge win. The Bengals finally coming out of their slumber in September. They're 1-4 now. I'm still not out on them. Bengals early season fraud watch. Right now, I genuinely think they can crawl out of this hole. Burrow had 9 incompletions, threw for 405 touchdowns. The only reason they lost this game, Joe, the long snapper. He had a hitch in his giddy up and fake snapped another snap.
This was a bad weekend for long snappers. Blake Ferguson, we're not even going to talk about the Dolphins today, but Blake Ferguson, who's the Dolphins snapper, he had a similar issue where he picked it up. And this is like one of the biggest issue with long snappers is if you pick up the football and you're not coming back with it and you come up with it, the ball slipped out of his hands and scooted it back. Yeah, man, the long snapper crap is not great.
What is that? Yeah, you pick up the hold and McPherson's there. McPherson, money leg also. Yeah. Fantastic special teamer. And it's just the snap that cost the Bengals a game, which they were well within their right to win. They had this one locked down. They're sitting at 2-3. Maybe then the Ravens are sitting at 2-3, and the AFC North is nice and competitive. But right now, they got to dig out of the hole. I still think they can, though. Burrow's waking up. The early season trashing of Burrow is come and gone, and now he's back to dotting to Jamar Chase. Welcome back to the scene, him and T. Higgins. 193 for Chase, 2 touchdowns. Higgins, 83 and 2. What a nuts performance from those two.
So I think that's like the big thing here to discuss. Like for the Ravens, we already spent a lot of time talking about the Ravens and how they're bouncing back and they're starting to recover. The Steelers are going to be our next talking point here that we have to discuss. That's a whole separate mess. I think, and we were a little bit cautious about expecting things from the Steelers because of some of the woes that they had, especially at receiver. Again, we're going to get to that in a quick second. But 1-4 is not a death sentence for the Bengals to this point. Have they not played up to expectation? Has their defense faltered and given up a ton of big performances against the quarterbacks that they faced? Have they been gashed and killed by 2 very elusive quarterbacks who have been compared to one another in Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels so far? Yeah, all these things have happened in the start of the season. But there's a lot of new young faces, especially on defense. That first month, now that we're past it, they need to be a lot more consistent to what Joe Burrow said. They need to play near perfect. Yeah, they have to be. They can't have any more mistakes or any more bad losses. They need to beat everyone that they're expected to beat on the remaining stretch of their schedule, and they need to get back against the remaining teams in the AFC North. But where there is a definite sign of positivity is that the offense definitely has the juice that we know that it can. And
exploded.
If you can win shootouts and produce the way that they did, you're going to be fine at the end of the day. You're going to be good enough to be a wild card team at the end of the season. I mean, watching this game and getting eyes on it on Red Zone, like it felt like every time they cut over, it was another big gain. Jamar Chase, here he is. T. Higgins, here he is. They have every capability to be the most potent passing attack in the NFL. And I think that they will end up finishing that to that degree. It's just the young faces on defense need to catch up and be ready to go. I believe I saw today that Dax Hill is done potentially with a knee injury, so that's going to hurt them. But all the young guys need to step up and they need to play more consistently.
Well, let's play a very quick game of Cincinnati shootout, okay? Next 4 opponents for the Bengals. Can the Bengals win in a shootout? Bengals Giants.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Bengals Browns.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Bengals Eagles.
Yes. In a shootout, yes.
Bengals Raiders.
Yes, absolutely.
So
so that's their next 4. Okay,
yeah.
Even better context here. That's their next 4. They're going to be 5-4 after that stretch.
I think so. Worse, they lose to the Eagles on some junky stuff, and they're sitting at 4-5, and then you're really in the thick of it in the thick of November.